What's the vibe, tribe? Today we are talking about the difference between believing and knowing. And yes, there is a difference between the two, and it's important for you to understand and discern the difference between the two, because you can spend a lifetime walking around this earth believing a thing but not knowing a thing. So we're going to jump right into it and not waste no time with this mind hack. Believing, beliefs, where does that come from? Have you ever actually asked yourself that question? Like, why do you believe what you believe? The truth of the matter is, most of our beliefs, we have not even decided upon ourselves that this is something that we truly know. You see, most of our beliefs are actually imposed onto us from childhood. We grow up mirroring our family, friends, individuals in the schools and society, mimicking their beliefs so that we can fit into socioeconomic norms, like religion, for example. Now, you might have grown up in a specific household attached to some sort of religion. It doesn't matter what religion it is, and is neither here nor there which one is true or right. The fact is that in this particular religion is one set of beliefs, and it could have many different comparisons and contrasts to other religions out there. So, for example, you might believe in God or whoever you call your source, but do you actually know God? Do you know your source? Meaning, have you ever met them? Do you know what they look like? Do you know what they sound like? I know that there's going to be 1% of people, or less than 1% of people, that's going to answer, yes, Coach Shay, I actually do know what God looks and sounds like. All right, we're not doing that. This is particular to beliefs, and it doesn't matter the topic of the conversation. Whatever you do believe, whether it's in a particular political party, whether the sky is blue or powder blue, or whether you believe diet soda is better for you than regular soda, it's all relative to your perspective, and most of these perspectives, you have gathered this information from somewhere else. When we have a belief, it doesn't necessarily mean that we've had the experience for ourselves to know it to be true. So if you did grow up with a set of values because this is what your family, your parents and guardians, or your teachers and your society, your neighbors, if that's what they've practiced, more than likely you practice those same things in order to fit into societal norms. It doesn't mean that it's the truth of the universe. Now, let's talk about the ability to know something. When you know something, it's because you've experienced the thing. You know what's going to happen if you place your hand on the stove while the flame is on. You don't need anybody to tell you that fire is hot. You will experience it for yourself if you were to put your hand on a stove while the flame was on. And then guess what? More than likely, because of that experience, you know not to put your hand inside of a flame ever again. Why? Not because you believe that you'll be harmed if you put your hand inside of an open flame, but because you know that you'll be harmed if you were to put your hand inside of an open flame. See, knowing comes from experience. Now, someone can tell you that a stove is hot beforehand, but there's nothing like touching a hot stove yourself. There's nothing like that feeling radiating through your nerves, through your skin, and through your body up to your brain for you to know firsthand what that feels like. So when someone just tells you what the experience is like, that's not you feeling it. You feel it to your core once you experience it yourself. Also, knowing is true. For me, for example, I take a particular bus every time that I go to work. So when I get on this particular bus, I know exactly where it's going to take me so that I can get off of the bus and get to work. So I don't believe that this bus that I take every single time that I go to work will get me to my destination. I know that is going to get me to my destination. Why? Because I've done it time and time and again. I've experienced it for myself. And so we're having this conversation is because it's really important to know yourself, to know for yourself, because we can believe anything. People talk to us all the time, and we talk to people, and we're constantly having this transaction of words. And so someone can say a thing and we could believe it to be true without actually knowing firsthand whether it's true or not. It's really important to do your research and to experience the thing for yourself. Hence why it's called knowledge. When we spell the word knowledge, what's the first four letters of knowledge? K-N-O-W, know. In order to receive knowledge, you must know the thing, not just believe the thing, but know it to be true and experience it firsthand. So question everything that you believe, because you don't even know for a fact that you really believe the thing. We pick up patterns and adopt what the people around us are saying and what they're doing, because that's how we learn. That's how we learn from childhood. Think about it. Monkey see, monkey do. You've seen people walking upright while you were crawling. So what did you begin to do? stand and try to walk, because you were able to see with your eyes that this is what people were doing. So you mirrored exactly what people were doing, because this is how humans learn. We learn through our five senses, and sight is the main sense that we learn through. Now, of course, there's exceptions. Unless there's limitations to sight, then you'll tap into one of your other resources. The second resource is going to be through your ears and then through touch. But nonetheless, we're looking outside of ourselves all the time, observing, processing this information, and then we have the ability to utilize this information based on what we observed. Now, why is it important to know so that you can have knowledge? Well, because I want you to think about the first 5 letters of the word believe or belief. B-E-L-I-E. Belie. Just saying, there's a possibility that what you're hearing especially is not true. So we rely a lot on sight, but what about what you hear, what someone tells you? Someone can tell you exactly where a store is if you weren't sure and you asked for directions. And then you could follow those directions, and guess what? That store could not be there following those directions. Possibly they told you to make a different turn. Possibly they told you the wrong street, or they gave you the wrong direction to turn in. Nonetheless, you didn't know for yourself where the store was until you discovered it. Once you hear it from another source, it doesn't necessarily make it true. It's only true when you know, not just when you believe it. It has to be coupled with an experience of understanding, because you have been able to see it firsthand and process that information for yourself. With that, my friends, this was a quick gem, but I had to drop this off because we talk about our beliefs all day long, and we're allowed to have our own opinions, which is what a belief is. A belief is nothing more than a practiced thought. You've practiced this thought over and over and over again. But if you've practiced that thought over and over again and never actually experienced it for yourself, then you don't actually know a thing. So we walk around with a lot of beliefs. We debate the world with our beliefs. We limit ourselves based on our beliefs without actually knowing a thing. And so it's important to do your research to actually gain some understanding, so that you can truly know something to be true. Think about it. You could believe that you could fly all you want, but go ahead and get on top of a building. And if you try to fly, especially if you don't have any additional equipment to help you stay in the air, gravity is true. And you can test that by simply throwing something in the air right now and watching it fall flat onto the ground, because that is exactly what you would do. So you could believe you could fly all you want, but just know that gravity is the truth. Gravity is real. So please don't go and jump off of anything, by the way. That was just an example. All things are relative. So that example exists for any type of topic of discussion that we can talk about. Opinions don't matter, and the truth doesn't lie. And with that, my friends, I hope that you be knowledgeable and wise with your informed decisions based on your own personal experience, and allow others to have their own personal experiences as well. If you enjoyed this gem and you want more like it, please be sure to smash that like button, to also press that subscribe and notification bell so you know when I drop more content like this. Leave me a comment with what you know to be true about yourself. This is a conversation about understanding self. What you know is through your experience. I want to know, what is it that you've taken away from this conversation that you know to be true about self? Share this with a friend as well if you think that it'll resonate with them. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace.